Back. I'm sharing my screen now. Once you're able to see, please respond saying yes in chat box. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Then chapter 7. Yes. Thanks. Any questions as of now? I think another seven more people have to join. If you have any questions, just put in chat box. We can discuss. We'll take another 2 minutes to get the people. Thanks. Still, my throat infection was gone, but again, I'm suffering from cold. Actually, you people can see. Thanks for asking, Dilip. Thanks, Praveen. Nothing from your side. The problem is I'll not prefer any medication. That is why it will take some time. It has to go how it came. Okay. Okay, fine. Let us not wait. 70 people are joined. Yeah. So the chapter 7, which is talking about the employment of young persons. Young persons we see the definition who has not completed their 15th year of age. Those will be called as young person. Provisional member, no child who has not completed his 15th year of age shall be required or allowed to work in any factory. This is a child labor restriction where they are not supposed to be. Okay, 1 second. We got a question. Does the question from this section be specific in sections or general? Saxena, what will happen is here, as of now, I have seen 4 questions from this. One is general duties of occupier, and then who is mean by definition of competent person or manufacturing process, hazardous process definition. Then what is mean by adult definition will get adult means, so they will ask you to have 3 definitions. What is mean by adult, young person, or adolescent. Another question is list down the sections under safety chapter. So you have to write only the section names. If you are well familiar, you can write the section number. If you are not familiar with the section number, you can write the only sections. Sometimes they are sections number with the section description, but 99.9% they won't ask the section number to write. Only sections. ఇందులో ఏంటంటే డెఫినేషన్ అడిగితే ఎక్కువ అడిగితే చాప్టర్లో అడుగుతారు. మేజర్గా అడిగింది ఇప్పటివరకు హెల్త్ చాప్టర్లో అడిగారు ఏమేమి సెక్షన్స్ ఉంటాయని, సేఫ్టీ చాప్టర్లో అడిగారు. తర్వాత సైట్ అప్రైజల్ కమిటీ గురించి కూడా ఒకటి వచ్చింది. హజార్డస్ ప్రాసెస్లో ఉన్న ఈ సెక్షన్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో, ఐ మీన్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ టు బి ప్రొవైడెడ్, తర్వాత సైట్ అప్రైజల్ కమిటీ, తర్వాత ఎమర్జెన్సీ స్టాండర్డ్స్, 41G గురించి, అట్లా అడుగుతాడు. సేఫ్టీ కమిటీ అంటే ఏంటి అడుగుతారు. సో అలా మీకు క్వశ్చన్స్ పడేదానికి అవకాశం ఉంది. సో మోస్ట్లీ మనము ఈ IS 105 అయిపోయిన తర్వాత విల్ హ్యావ్ రీక్యాప్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్ క్వశ్చన్ పేపర్స్ ఆల్సో. ఓకే, ఓకే. సో a non-adult worker to carry the tokens, a child who has completed his 14th year or an adolescent shall not be required or allowed to work in any factory unless a certificate of fitness granted with reference to him under section 69 in a custody of manager of the factory, or such child or adolescent carries while he is at work a token giving a reference to such certificate. In the sense, they'll get the fitness certificates to work at the age of 15. Mostly this practice very less in factories. Certificate of fitness. A certifying surgeon shall, on the application of any young person or his parent or guardian, accomplished by the document signed by the manager of the factory, that such person will be employed therein if certified to be a fit for work in a factory, or on application of manager of factory in which any young person wishes to work, examine such person of ascertain his fitness for the work in a factory. So these many restrictions will be there. Their parents or guardian has to be signed, or also the occupier also has to be certified. Then they has to get a medical fitness from the certifying surgeon as well. Then he is allowed to work. And effect of certificate fitness granted to the adolescent. This is also not such a crucial one. Children. So again, more than 4 hours. This is about the apprentice people or the trainee people who works on. No children shall be employed permitted to the work in any factory for more than 4 hours or 4.5 hours in a day. And during the night shift, they are not supposed to work in any factory. And again, it is notice period of the workers like us. Then register of child workers. So this is required. A manager every factory in which children are employed shall be maintain a register of child workers to be available to the inspector at all the times during the working hours and when any work is being carried on. So like adult workers, for child workers also, they have to have a register. Then hours of work to be compensated with the notice under 72. This is not so required. And power to require medical examination. So this is important. Where an inspector in a factory on opinion, our opinion upon inspector of factory's opinion that any person working in a factory without a certificate of fitness is a young person, or that a young person working in a factory with a certificate of fitness is no longer fit to work within a capacity stated. Without a fitness of certificate, no person shall be worked. Then power to make, it is not an important then. Then we'll see the other chapter, annual leaves with wages. Application of chapter is not required. Annual leaves with wages. This is not required for as a safety officer, just for general understanding we can discuss. Every factory who has worked for a period of 240 days. Everybody know 240 days more than in a factory. They have to get the annual leaves. The adult 1 day for every 20 days of work performed by his duties. అంటే every 20 days కి ఒక యాన్యువల్ లీవ్ అంటే 240 days వర్క్ చేసిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళకి ఎలిజిబిలిటీ వస్తుంది. మనకి ఈఎల్స్ అంటారు కదా, ఈఎల్స్ పిఎల్స్ అంటారు కదా, Avi. Then wages during the leave period. For a leave allowed to him under the section 7, 8, and 9, maybe the worker shall entitle for the wages rate of equivalent daily average of his total full-time earnings of the days which is actually worked during the month of immediately preceding his leave, excluding of any overtime of the bunch, exclusive dearness allowances, cash equivalent advantage occurring. This is about the leave paid days. Okay, it's not so important. Special provisions. This is so yeah. This section is important. Dangerous operations. Section 87. In the government opinion that any manufacturing process or operations carried on in a factory exposes any persons employed in or into a serious risk of bodily injury, poisoning or diseases. It make rules applicable to any factory or class or description of factories in which a manufacturing process or processes. Specifying manufacturing process or operations declaring in the it to be dangerous. So like we have in schedule 1, the factor should be under described as dangerous and prohibiting restricting employment of women, adolescent or children in this process is strictly prohibited. We should not allow to join any woman, adolescent or children. And providing for periodical medical examinations of persons employed, then providing a protection for all the persons employed in the manufacturing process. It is the general application. Okay. Then power to prohibit employment on account of serious hazard. Yeah. Notice of certain accidents. This is very important, especially in the interviews, because this is the section where we use our incident reports, Form 18 and 18A, based on this section 88, where in a factory an incident occurs which causes death or which causes any bodily injury by reason of which person injured in the prevented from working for a period of 48 hours. So because of that incident or injury, he is not able to work for 48 hours or more immediately following the accident, or which such nature may be prescribed in behalf of manager or facility, other authorities such may be prescribed, where a notice given under section relates to incident causing death or authority to whom the notice sent shall be make an inquiry into the occurrence within 1 month of the receipt of the notice. In such authority is not the inspector, cause the inspector to make the inquiry within the set period. So once you have submitted this to the inspector, within 1 month, he has to do an inquiry. Then notice of certain dangerous occurrences. This is also important. Where in any factory, any dangerous occurrence of such nature as may be prescribed in occurrence, whether the causing any bodily injury or disability or not, the manager of the factory shall send a notice thereof to the such authorities and in such a form within such time as prescribed. So if you see such authorities, basically will give it mostly will give it to the inspector of factories, even labor department as well. Then notice of certain diseases. This is also very important. We have discussed many times. Occupational diseases. Occupational diseases. This is that disease. In case any occupational disease which is noticed in your premises or in your factory, then we have to inform to the inspector of factories. Okay. Then power to direct inquiry into the causes of this accident. So the state court maybe consists of expedite. So to do, appoint a competent person to inquire into the causes of any accident occurring in a factory or into any case where a disease specified in or schedule has been suspected to have contracted in a factory, or maybe appointed one or more persons processing legal or a special knowledge to the act of assessors in such inquiry. So ఎప్పుడైతే మనం ఇన్ఫార్మ్ చేస్తామో there is a notice of what do you call occupational disease or accident. So they will appoint people to investigate or inquire. Again, this is also an important section, but in the during our work life, we will not come across with all these sections. The Chief Inspector or Director General of the factory, advisor, Labor Institute of any Director General, Health Services or India. Such officers are maybe authorized to behalf of state government or Chief Inspector Director General Factory, advice service of Labor Institute or Director General, time being normal working hours of the factory at the other time in the found by him to the necessary for giving notice to the writing in occupational manager for any person who has for the time being proposed to be charge of factory undertake a safety occupational health survey such as occupier or manager or other person shall be afford all the facilities such as survey including facilities of examination, testing and plant machinery, collection of samples and also data which is required. This is about the annual medical examinations. Okay, they have to conduct. Then penalties and procedures. So this is chapter is not so important. There is a two more sections. I think 105 or 108. We can discuss those sections directly. It's all about how the penalties will comes in. So if you see the penalties for hazardous process, if you have any penalties which will occur, you can refer this section I'm highlighting here. But examination point of view, it is not so much important. Penalty offenses by the workers. This we may see. Subject to the provision of section 111. First, we'll see what is 111. See 111. What is 111? Obligation of workers. Just remember, we'll come back again. Obligation of workers. Based on the section 111, the contraventions, any provision of this act or any rules or orders made thereunder imposing any duty or liability on workers, he shall punishable with a fine which may extend 500 rupees. Where the worker is convicted of an offense punishable under subsection 1 of the occupier or manager of factory shall not be deemed to be guilty of an offense in respect of such contravention unless it is proved that he failed to take reasonable measures for its prevention. If you see this section, it is very clearly written. If he knows it is a hazard, it is an event or it is an unsafe action, if he is not taken appropriate action by knowingly, then he will be punishable. Okay. Up to 500. That's where the people used to penalize the workers for unsafe actions and all. The questions, pins, display notices. So this also you can read just for the knowledge. Then obligation of workers. Obligation of workers and rights of workers. These two sections also important. We will see these two sections. One is no worker in a factory shall willfully interfere. So this one, triple one is linking to that penalties. In the sense, intentionally. Shall willful means intentionally interfere with the or misuse any appliances or conveniences or other thing provided in factory for the purpose of what? Securing the health and safety or welfare. It is not about only the health and safety, it is about welfare facilities also. Misuse of those things, then he will be punishable. Okay. Then shall willfully or without reasonable cause to do anything likely to endanger himself or others. Unsafe action. In the first subsection A is talking about the intentionally making some misuse or malfunction. Second one is without a reasonable cause do anything unlikely to danger. And then shall willfully neglect to make the use of any appliances or other things provided in a factory for the purpose of securing health and safety. అదేంటి ఇంటెన్షనల్ గా ఆయనకి వేరే ఏది పని చేయకుండా చేయటం. ఏదన్నా సేఫ్టీ స్విచ్ ఉంటుంది, లేదంటే ఎమర్జెన్సీ స్టాప్ బటన్ ఉంటుంది, దాన్ని వర్క్ చేయకుండా చేయటం వల్ల సేఫ్టీ ఇష్యూ అవుతుంది. కాబట్టి వాటన్నింటికి కూడాను వీళ్ళని పినలైజ్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు. ఓకే, ఇవి వచ్చేసి అబ్లిగేషన్స్ ఆఫ్ వర్కర్స్, వాళ్ళు చేయకూడదు. దెన్ రైట్స్ ఆఫ్ వర్కర్స్. ద రైట్ ఆఫ్ వర్కర్ excuse me, every worker shall have a right to obtain what? Information relating to workers' health and safety at work. వాళ్ళకి తెలుసుకునే హక్కు ఉంటుంది, అంటే వర్కర్స్ యొక్క హెల్త్ అండ్ సేఫ్టీ సిచ్యువేషన్స్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది. Get trained within the factory wherever possible or to get himself sponsored by the occupier for getting trained at training center or institute duly approved by the inspector of factories where training is important for the workers on health and safety of the work. So some of the trainings will conduct by the third party regarding the, like for example, I'll give first aid and firefighting trainings conducted by the mostly by the third party, but apart from that we'll do the internal trainings also. Then represent to the inspector directly or through its representative in the matter of inadequate provision for production of his health and safety. Then he can represent to the inspector through his representative. అంటే ఇన్ కేసు ఏమన్నా ఇష్యూ అయితే he have right to go on with inspector of factories in case of inadequate provision of for the protection, అంటే సేఫ్టీ పరమైన సిస్టమ్స్ తక్కువ ఉంటే those are inadequate, he can go and put a complaint to the inspector. Okay, those two sections are so important. Okay, that's all. Those are 120 sections we have. Now we'll see the three schedules as per the section 2 CB. It's a hazardous process. Section 2 CB, which is the hazardous process definition, which are the factories fall under this hazardous process. I think there are categories: metallurgical industries, integrated iron and steel factories, non-ferrous, foundries, coal, power generating industries, pulp and paper, fertilizer, cement industries, petroleum industries, oil refining, lubricating oils, petrochemical industries, drugs and pharmaceutical industries, fermentation industries, which is milk industries, rubber, paints, leather, electroplating, chemical industries. There are some subcategories also is there. You can refer later. And insecticides, synthetic, etc., etc. Then the second schedule, which is talking about the permissible levels of certain chemicals. So if your company is using these kind of chemicals, this is the weighted time, TWA, time weighted average for 8 hours. 3 ppm mg per meter cube. Short-term exposure limit, which is used for used to calculate for 15 minutes. TWA, which is used to calculate for 8 hours. Here 5 ppm 6 mg per meter cube. అంటే మనము 5 ppm 15 minutes మీటర్ క్యూబ్ చూసుకుంటే 6 mg మిల్లీగ్రామ్స్ పర్ ఒక మీటర్ క్యూబ్, అంటే ఒక మీటర్ క్యూబ్ ఏరియాలో అంత కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ ఉన్నప్పుడు మనం మాక్సిమం 15 minutes అక్కడ ఎక్స్పోజ్ అవ్వచ్చు. అంతకు మించి అయితే మనకి ప్రమాదకరం. ఇవన్నీ కూడాను సర్టైన్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ కెమికల్స్. ఓకే, యూ కెన్ రెఫర్ దిస్ యాజ్ వెల్. Then after this we have list of notifiable diseases as per the section 89 and 90. Okay, these all are notifiable diseases. Lead poisoning, lead tetra poisoning. Sometimes somebody asks, sometimes they will ask this question also. Kindly note the list of notifiable diseases as per the Factories Act. So this is also very important. You can take any 10 simple ones so that too easy to remember. Okay, you can write lead poisoning, phosphorus poisoning. I don't know, it is not too easy. Most of the things are poisoning only, so it is easy to remember. Mercury poisoning, manganese poisoning, arsenic poisoning, if you have to remember. Then anthrax, then silicosis. Try to choose the small ones so that you can write toxic anemia. It is bisonosis. Even whatever the ends with cis, it is easy to remember again. So if you see silicosis, bisonosis, asbestosis, if you remember the cis word last, so you could able to easily write 3 occupational diseases. Then noise induced hearing loss. This is also a occupational illness. Then carbon monoxide. So you know carbon dioxide very well. So it is easy to remember. Then occupational cancer. This is also easy. Cancer is a very common word in the nowadays. So you can remember, anyhow we are pursuing occupational health and safety subject. So occupational cancer, carbon monoxide poisoning, noise induced hearing loss, asbestosis, bisonosis, toxic anemia, then silicosis, anthrax, arsenic poisoning, manganese poisoning, mercury poisoning, lead poisoning. So simply you can write. Okay, these are the questions. Wait a minute. We have any questions? We have another 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Tomorrow, in next class, we start with another topic. Okay. I can show you. Yes. Okay, I'm unmuting. I'm trying to, yeah. What I do is I'll give this attachment. Don't worry. So I'll show you this last year question papers with respect to, I mean, the chapter we have discussed. So here if you see the second question, what are the restricting working hours in a factory? That is the one question. We quote as a 3 marks. Uh, then if you see uh, what are the objective of the factory site? So with the 3 days discussion, you would have got one brief idea. So it is not a direct question. Based on our understanding, we have to write what are the objectives. So what is the objective of this question? To set a rules, to give safety provisions, welfare provisions, health and provisions in the factories. This Factories Act have been brought in. See, as I told you again, this one. Short note on section 111A. A to the 111A. Section 111 is for obligations. Section 111A is the rights of the workers. Okay. Then if you go to 8 marks, what are the case laws under this Factories Act? Explain. Okay, all the sections you can write here. Then define a chemical accident. Yeah. See, define manufacturing process. This also we have discussed. What is mean by manufacturing process? If you see hazardous process, this also we discussed. Here they have asked two questions from the short answer. What is mean by manufacturing process or hazardous process? Then with respect to, yeah, briefly describe various sections of the Factories Act. As I told you, this is type of one more question. What are the sections? Based on whatever the sections which are, I mean, known to you, you can write those sections and you can give one example. Okay, okay, Hussein. Sure, sure. How to get ratification? Ratification, you have to referred by your factory manager. You can approach you can approach your HR as well. So they can, I mean, it is typically, so who is dealing with the inspector of factories in your factory? So they can put your certification under ratification. As simple as that. Again, section 111A. See, here they are asking for the chapter also. List out the chapters in the Factories Act. Okay. Okay, this is how the questions will come. So whatever the topics and whatever the things I have highlighted, you can go through those highlighted ones. So definitely you can able to attempt the questions which will fall under this chapter. I mean, from the Factories Act. Okay. A ratification, it is a typical thing actually. So it depends on if you have very good contacts in your factory. So they will definitely refer. It is up to the management. It is not, we can't do our own. It has to be referred from the factory. Naresh, that's all. I've unshared my screen. I'm not sharing anything. We have another less than a minute. We can meet in the next session. Hope you have enjoyed the class. Hope I've given my best. So you can go through this attachment. I'll give this attachment now itself to the institute. They will share with you all people. Go through the document, read the highlight things. And if you have any questions, please note it down. We'll definitely discuss in our next session. Thank you so much.